Today is Thursday, May the 9th, 2024, and welcome to episode 95 of Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day to reduce our dependencies on outside sources, merging homesteading and frugality.
Yeah, and this is one of our big things that we talk about quite often.
And what we want to talk about today is embracing delayed gratification on your homestead. We know this is hard.
It is.
Especially today when homesteading is becoming like the millennial dream. It is.
It is.
It is. It's like all you see in all the feeds is like homesteading. And they're these beautiful manicured homesteads. They have horses and donkeys and cows. And they just started. Like they just started and they have all this stuff.
Yes.
And it's a lot.
It is. And it's hard in today's society the way it is.
To shut that off.
Because everything is, I want it now.
I want it now. And you can get it now. You have the ability to go and buy it now. Now, whether you're buying it on debt or not and you can actually afford to buy it is the question. We don't know your financial circumstances. You know,
right.
We're debt free.
Right.
And that's why this is so important to us. Because we have not always embraced delayed gratification. We have fallen into this trap ourselves. So you've heard us talk about our homestead journey. How we got started, where we got started. We wanted to start with trees and bushes and all of these other things that was our starting point.
Right. And we were trying to get to the now factor as soon as possible, because if you ever hear the saying with trees is the best day to plant a tree was yesterday, and if you couldn't do it yesterday, you need to do it today.
Yep.
So, those
that was our focus. And we spent a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort. I mean, I can't tell you how many trees we planted in places that it didn't make sense.
Hey, there's an empty spot here. Sure, let's try it.
Down by the paintball field, we lined the whole area. We couldn't maintain it. We couldn't keep up with it. We couldn't handle it. I mean, the past few years, we have no idea if any of those trees have stayed alive, if they're doing anything, because we can't actually...
Probably covered in poison ivy.
At this point. We can't actually maintain it. We actually probably do need to go pull out all of the
cages.
Yeah. Because then we won't have to buy any more for the rest of eternity.
Right.
And we spent a lot of time working down there. So much time and effort and thousands of dollars, probably.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not down there specifically.
Not down there specifically. We did more bare roots down there that we would get on sale.
Yeah, we got a lot of ones from like the state for $2 a piece, $4 a piece, $6 a piece, stuff like that.
Yeah, but we did do a lot of bare root walnuts from rain tree and things like that.
We tried that, and we tried some almonds down there. Mm-hmm. And
we've tried almonds everywhere. We can't get them to grow.
And we planted a whole section area of
ants. They didn't do anything.
Soil there was amazing. I think it was everything else that was competing with it there.
Yes, because we know raspberries will grow there. Mm-hmm. So we were trying to get this beautiful orchard that we could just go pick the food off of it. And we knew it was a long haul, but I don't know if we needed to put that much effort and time into all of that area because we didn't know anything about zones or anything like that.
Right.
That wasn't a thing. We were just trying to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
We thought, this is a good first step. Let's push, and build this huge, massive orchard. And we eventually took the fields. And we've just had so much more knowledge. And I think that for us, if we were to embrace delayed gratification back then, we would have done things a lot differently.
Oh, we would have. I will say it would have probably been harder to get me to understand that, though.
Yes. And he's seeing it now.
I'm seeing it now.
He's seeing it now. And he understands, like, if this soil isn't... So for me, I would have probably focused on the things I know we can grow. Well, we can grow really well. But so we can start producing them now to sell. And that might still be something that we do later. We might set up an area of blackberries or raspberries to sell. We could do that, and it wouldn't be very hard to set that up.
Right.
It would be like a couple years down the road before they would be prolific enough to sell, but it's still much faster than
15-year tree.
the 15-year tree.
Or, a lot of the ones that you hear about, hey, it might produce 10 to 20 years. You might get a little bit off at 5 years, So you're always looking at it from a long perspective as well. Hey, I want to enjoy this.
I would have probably planted more apricots. The apricots have done the best for us growing where they are.
Right.
And that's the other thing. We didn't know anything about building our soil health, so now that's another thing we're struggling with. We're trying to find ways to fix it, to help the trees that we've already planted, to get them up and running the way we need them to. But I'm really of the mind, if we can't get them up, we can't get them working, we're going to put something there that we know will work. We know that functions on our property. We're not spending a lot of money anymore buying things that seem interesting.
No comment.
This kills him because this is his thing. This is what he loves.
It is.
But I have to kind of pull it back like this. If you want to try an interesting new gooseberry, let's go for it. We know gooseberries work for us and we love them.
Yeah.
But let's not try the tree that might or might not work in our zone. We haven't had any success with figs. I don't think a fig tree is really the right type of tree for us because we haven't had success with figs.
No.
And we tried many figs.
We've had 3 that have sort of made it from time to time. They might come back one year. They might not come back another year, type of thing.
Pawpaws grow really well for us, but you know what? I can't eat them.
She can't take the
whatever the chemical they have. Yeah. I can't do a bite and I'm done forever.
Pawpaws are good ones to sell from the seed perspective.
They are. Lots of people will buy them.
Yep.
So, made a lot of mistakes. What we want to do is we want to help you avoid those mistakes, especially if you're new in your homesteading journey. But even if you're not new in your homesteading journey, if you're working on building your homestead, you're working on getting out of debt. Or planning your homestead. Like, we're still planning. We still have big dreams. We want to help you do this in a way that you don't go deeper into debt. You don't go into debt if you have no debt. That we can really focus on this. So, why focus on delayed gratification when it comes to building a homestead? The biggest reason is if you are frugal, this is the only way to go. We know how to we can hold off on those purchases.
Mm-hmm.
We can. There are things that I would love to have.
Yep.
There's things Aaron would love to have.
Yep.
But we don't have them.
Right.
Because of delayed gratification. Aaron, I've really learned this from him because when he wants an antenna or he wants a new thing for his collections, he will save that money up, his personal money, his birthday money, Christmas money, everything. He will save that up to actually purchase that, even if it's a year out. I've seen him spend a year and a half.
Sometimes it's 3 years.
Sometimes it's 3 years, but he has that goal in mind, and that's what that money is for.
Yeah. We
have the same thing with our perfection fund. I want a brand new, beautiful perfection that's working, one that's been restored.
Which we still haven't found.
We still haven't found, but we've not really been. You look online.
I look occasionally.
He looks online, and we look, locally, but, this might be an antique store, have it ordered. It's going to be more expensive. We have that fund. We have that money set aside, so when we're ready, we can actually pull the trigger and buy one that's our fully restored. But it's all about, holding off on those purchases. That's like one of the biggest parts of being frugal. You don't just go do that impulse purchase. So there's some reasons why we don't want to do that. We don't want to build our homestead with that. This is huge.
It is, because getting in debt means that you are not the owner of that land, for example, or maybe
your cows.
Maybe your cows. I mean, it depends what you're going in. More than likely, you're the owner of your chickens. But big purchases, tractors, anything like that, you know, it's something that you can't take for granted.
You can't. You can't. There's a feeling that comes with being debt free that people who are in debt don't understand or know until you've been out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
All debt. That includes your mortgage, your home, everything. It's a completely different feeling. Consumer debt is one thing, you want to get out of that. But all of it, knowing that that property is yours beyond paying your taxes. Got to pay your taxes. Knowing that property is yours. You don't have to worry about a mortgage payment. Gives you so much more freedom and so much more margin in your budget. You can put that towards your big goals. But a lot of people aren't in that position, and we get it. We understand. You've bought your property. You're building that homestead. Now, you have a mortgage or you have a home equity loan, whatever you've done.
You've got to find a way to bring money in to
cover those costs.
That. Yep.
Cut your expenses or bring more money in. Those are really your options. So we are always, big on you can cut expenses. We know because we can cut expenses like better than anybody else. And a lot of people feel cutting the small expenses don't really save a lot of money, but they can really add up.
It does.
Pennies make dollars.
Yeah. I mean, a great example for us was me wanting to hold on to a cell service.
And we struggled with this for years.
We did, because I was like, what am I going to do if I don't have this one, Haven't really noticed much of a difference, Few areas don't have as much signal as I did before.
But we have more signal around the house.
But we have signal at the house.
Which is much better for...
And I carry a ham radio with me, for other areas.
In emergency.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm in dire need of
it. When you build with delayed gratification in mind, you're also going to really... Most of the time you're going to avoid costly mistakes because you're really doing this with a planning mindset. You're really thinking about what you're doing. You aren't getting it immediately, so
you've got time to think it out.
You've got time to think this out. You've got time to plan it, build it, do what you need to. You're really looking at this, so you're going to have fewer mistakes in the long run.
Or changes or updates that really affect something, Like maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to go out here and, put something in the ground right in this area. Well, after I looked at it, maybe I needed this raised bed design that I randomly saw on a video like just yesterday, and now I've got to figure out how to build it, finding those materials, waiting on it and getting to that point.
Absolutely. So for us, one of the biggest things is where we've put trees everywhere. In our zone 1, our zone 2, and I didn't even say zone 3, 4. It's made it really hard for us to figure out, pathways for UTV. Where are we going to put coops? Where are we going to put the ducks? Where are we going to put any animals that we want to bring in? How are we going to make sure we don't avoid this in the future? It's really, we've kind of struggled with it a bit.
We have. It's been something that we're constantly having to be like, I hope that one plant there doesn't make it.
We've had a few areas where the plants didn't make it. We had an elderberry area patch. It's gone.
Yep.
So we had 2 actually. The one behind the greenhouse and then the one beside the greenhouse. We have one plant that's doing really good.
Right, and then we've got the area near the potato patch.
I know we have that. Has it done well or not? I don't really like. Aaron's really in charge of making sure the trees are doing what they need to do. That's kind of his area of expertise. I'm just.
It's more because I know what's where.
He does. He's amazing. He knows what each tree is, and there's just so many. Until they start producing, I have no idea at all. I know where the apricots are. I know where the apples are, and I mostly know what all the viney things are. But because those things have died, we're able to set up some cold frames because cold frames make sense for us. We're able to put the duck coop in a place that's relatively close to the house, but not too close. It's in a good area for us. So we're actually able to make adjustments. Even our garden, we had issues because we had to do the double fencing. Yep. We had trees planted around our garden.
Yep.
So we had to plan our fencing
around the trees.
around the trees, which is why you look, you're like, why is there a path that's only 3 feet wide in there? Well, that's because it's all we had between the one set and the other.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle because we didn't plan this out the right way. So you can avoid some of these mistakes where you're having to work around it, you're having to think about it, or they just end up costing you money because you're like, man, this just doesn't work for us now. And because you didn't rush into it. We would have, we really would have done it differently if we would have had the time to think about it and we would have embraced it. I'm telling you, I would have went with berry plants. If I knew then what I know now, we would have had rows and rows of berry vines. Boysenberries, loganberries, all of those, because those are not things you get locally.
Right. The only thing about those is
they do go bad fast.
They go bad fast. So it would have to be something where you're having a quick turnaround on them, whether producing something or selling.
Now, I will say, by embracing delayed gratification, especially if you're looking at equipment for your homestead, whatever you're looking at. And I don't know how much equipment is really needed for a lot of homesteads. You see a lot of people have really big and heavy equipment on like 2 or 3 acres. And I'm just thinking, and I understand. And I totally understand. Everybody wants the tools to make their life a lot easier. But sometimes there's still ways to do it without it. We see a lot of people who handle it without having all the really heavy equipment.
And a lot of it is how big your homestead is.
Yes.
Anything probably under 3-4 acres, and anything under an acre, you definitely don't.
No, you don't. You don't.
Now, when you get up in, high amounts, it depends if you're
farming to sell commercially, things like that. That requires different.
Or hay for cattle or goats or whatever
if you're trying to produce that on your own.
Yep.
It does get harder. It's harder up front. It's going to be so much harder for you up front. But here's the thing. At this point in time, you're younger than you're going to be tomorrow.
Yep.
And I know that right now I can handle this workload at this stage that we're in, for the most part. Some things I can't handle. I have a hard time carrying and doing the fence posts into the ground when they're 8 feet tall. I'm sorry. I'm not tall enough to handle driving the 8 feet.
The 8 feet ones are tough.
The 8 feet ones are even for him. So I'm going to have a hard time with that.
Use some muscles that you don't usually use when you're trying to do those up high.
So, but it is harder, but you're younger. And it does give you more of a sense, especially when you're working your homestead with your own 2 hands, your own 2 feet. It's going to give you a better sense of what you actually need in the long run. Because we know as we get older, a UTV is going to have to happen. Something.
Or something. We haven't figured out what that is yet.
You're also going to have time to figure out what really works for your homestead. Maybe the cute little cows aren't what you need on your homestead. I see a lot of pretty things. Somebody explained to me all the pretty animals that don't really seem very functional on these homesteads. I know they're beautiful, but they look like pets to me.
That's because they usually are pets.
They're pets, right? Like, there's no way a cow's coming into my house. I would lose my there's no way a chicken is coming into my house. I'm sorry. Unless it's dead. That's the only way you're coming into my home. I saw something I had to live. Those little miniature Highland cows just walked from the garage into the living room.
Well, that's nice.
And I was thinking, I just see this woman having to clean poo up off the floor. I just see this woman having to clean up this mess. And that's not a gift to me.
But you watched the video, right?
I can't help it because they're beautiful.
Okay. So they're probably making enough money off that video of people like you watching the cow in the living room. I'm just thinking,
why are you doing this? This is not a gift. They look so cute. The little Nigerian goats, I thought they were adorable. That's actually something we wanted when we first started. We thought, we'll get goats. We can milk goats. I love goat cheese, goat milk, all these things. And then as we kept getting further and further along in our journeys, I just don't think we're those kind of people.
Well, a lot of it was, let's say we needed to be away for a couple of days.
Yep.
Who's going to milk those goats?
Who's going to take care of them?
Who's going to take care of the goats? Because we didn't have a reliable source to milk a goat.
Nope. There's no. We're not in a place where we have that,
Right.
homestead community. We're working on it. We're trying. Aaron's constantly looking for a network to join, to hop into, to meet more people.
Maybe I start one. I've been thinking about that. Something similar. I've seen some other areas do, but it's just more work.
It is.
That's why I haven't done it.
Right now we're in get everything where we need it, and then we go into building phase.
Yep.
So that's been our focus. And this is a year process, maybe even a little longer. I'm hoping not longer. I'm making a lot of progress. I'm getting a lot done
From the homestead perspective.
from the homestead perspective. But that's where my focus has been, because it's been pretty. It's not too hot. It's not too cool. So that's kind of the focus. I would say everybody's homestead is going to be different. Your needs are different. You have to focus on what your needs are. And when you first start, you might not realize it. When I look at what we actually eat from, our freezer to table, we don't eat a lot of beef. We don't eat a lot of pork. So those animals do not make sense on our homestead.
Well, we don't have the pig. We could
do the pig.
We could do the pig, but cow-wise, we don't have enough hay or ways to feed a cow with our land structure that we have.
Where we've put all the trees.
Right.
We could have.
Right. There used to be horses there and everything. So.
We could have grazed. We could set up pasture. We do have the one field down there, but it'd be hard, and it wouldn't be close enough to the house that we would feel really comfortable. But it not even the land part of it. It's more of out of pure practicality. We don't eat enough of it to justify the cost.
Right. We would be.
And time.
We would be splitting a cow with somebody else, because just the amount we would use.
We really need a quarter.
Right. That is true.
With the amount of meat.
And we don't want to sell meat. There's too much.
There's way too many rules around that.
Too many regulations about that.
So your needs are going to be different from ours. Our needs are poultry. That's what we like. That's what we enjoy. The other items we could source somewhere else. We could source them how we need to. And that's what our focus has been on, and really been for our growing our homestead. And we might expand that. We might expand it to quail. We've talked about that back and forth. Quail would be a great one because it's a fast turnaround. You get eggs quickly. You can get meat quickly. It's a good option, and they don't take a lot of space.
That's the big
thing.
Right.
They're so easy. They seem so simple. They're probably smaller than the size of our chickens right now. And we like them. We know we like them.
Yeah.
We're building the homestead of our dreams on budget. That's what we've really been focused on. So every single step we're making, even right now, all the steps we're making, we're doing this with frugality and mindfulness in mind, intentionality, and delaying that gratification. Okay, well, we know we need this, but we don't need this right now.
And what we've done for some of those things that we need is we've created us a list of things like that. And, we're like, okay, here's how much it's going to cost. Here's the cheapest price right now. From this website, we'll put a link here and save it for later. Hey, 5 months from now, we might not need it. 5 months from now, we might have enough room in the budget to get it.
And that's what we're focusing on our homestead right now. We're focusing on getting all of our current systems and processes perfected. So one of the processes we have are for the solar. So yes, we have to do the hookup, but one of the big issues that we're having with the solar is the grass growing under the panels.
So I can't put in a permanent.
We can't do anything permanent at all.
Permanent structure. Otherwise, you got to pay some extra fees. So I created a mobile structure. easy take up, easy put down. Okay, well, you know, I've got to, I need either some gravel underneath or something so I'm not having to constantly pull the weeds around it to keep them clear.
So what we're looking to do is either get was it the silver plastic,
No,
the metal stuff to go underneath it, the reflective. We haven't decided if we're going to gravel or reflective, but we know we have to do something.
right, because I do have bifacials, so we thought maybe something reflective so that it could reflect off a little bit better. I think I had some kind of clear one I'd found that somebody had used from that
Which
perspective.
would work.
But, you know.
Gravel wouldn't make sense because if we ever needed to move these, we'd have to move the gravel.
Exactly.
So we have to find another solution that works really well for us. But we are doing other things to improve our homestead, like the first in-ground strawberry bed that we put in place. We put that in. It's working really well, but that was with all material we already had, and that was for a plan for this year. We had that set up. That was going to be in the plan. But we're doing it, and we're staying out of debt. That's like the number one goal. We're staying out of debt, but we're also meeting our savings goals.
Yes.
So if you're in debt and you're trying to get out of debt, you also have to make sure you're putting extra money towards your debt, credit card, mortgage, whatever you're doing. So you want to meet your savings or debt payment goals, but also build your homestead. So you gotta figure what that balance is for you. So, but we are focused on kind of doing both.
Yeah.
But right now we're in a good spot where we already had a lot of stuff that we were able to use. We did have to buy some fencing to go around
some chicken wire,
things like that to go around the bottom. It's more for the little critters than
rats.
It's not for the deer. It's for the small things.
Yeah. So if you heard us talk or seen a video before, we had like some deer netting at the bottom to try to save a little money in a section. Didn't work. Now we're gonna have to put some chicken wire there.
So we're not coming to you without some solutions. So you're going to go with delayed gratification. So what should be your steps of attack here? So number one, you want to go into planning and dreaming. I put these together because they do work together. You're going to dream big, you're going to plan it out, then you're going to dream again and refigure it out. So we do this constantly. This is something we always do. We're always looking for new ideas, new ways to change, new ways to improve our homestead. We're looking at possibly putting a small greenhouse in the front of our home to get more sun exposure in the winter and also to heat up our basement passively.
Yep.
Possibly.
I don't know. You know, that's a dream.
It's a dream. It's an idea. It's not something right now, but it's something for later. It's on our list of possible dreams and plans. So this is just a space. You're going to write everything down. No idea is too big. No idea is too small. Everything. Put it down on paper and just start dreaming. And get it on paper. This is so important. Then you want to do a cost analysis. We're going to break it. You're going to break your dream.
And be like, can I afford this?
And when we say cost analysis, we're going to do a video on this. But when we say cost analysis, we're telling you to look at not just the cost to get it.
Yep.
You need to look at the cost to maintain. If you're looking to do things for slaughter, you not only look to maintain, you're looking at processing, you're looking at preserving, all of it. All of it. And you can't just look at this as in, oh, this is the price to take it to the butcher. You need to look at your time and effort you have to put into this too. Are you going to be okay not going on vacation?
I mean, that's...
Even for a weekend. That's
some of the things you got to think about
when you go this route. So these are just all small things that you need to think about because maybe you can get a farm sitter. I know, like around here, I don't know where you'd find a farm sitter. How do you advertise in the newspaper?
Hey.
Side hustle?
You side hustle.
I'll be your chicken keeper.
I'll go feed your chickens and pet them.
Yeah, I'll collect your eggs. Do I get to keep the eggs? So you need to do a cost analysis. And now after you know the cost, this is important. You need to have the plan. You need to have the dream. You need to have the idea of what you want. You need to know how much it's going to cost you. Everything has a cost. And you're like, but Julia, you're killing my dream. Yep, I'm sorry. I'm turning your dream into reality, and it might kill it. But now you need to look at how this works for the needs for you and your family.
Yeah.
Because your homestead shouldn't have to do anything with anybody else but you and your family. That's the only thing that matters. I don't grow food that anybody else likes but me and my family. I don't care.
Well, I might want to try something every once in a while.
He might.
And then you're like, why are we growing this?
But we do it in small batches.
We do.
We have a very, very specific process for this. It doesn't take a whole row in our garden. The majority of our garden, 95% of it, is for food that we eat. Mm. And it's not the same foods a lot of other people eat. You're not going to see the same variety or different types of plants because we don't eat all of those things. Right. There's no reason for... I don't go through enough onions a year for me to go through the trouble of preserving them.
Nope.
I use, maybe 5 pounds a year? Maybe. A pound a year?
I mean, it's low.
It's so low. And I use it mostly for relish for his potato salad.
Yep.
And then I don't have to add an onion into the potato salad because it's in the relish. It worked out really well for us this year. So you focus on the needs for you and your homestead. And then save money, build it slowly. I can't tell you how much this has helped us because before we didn't look at it through this. We just put our dreams on paper
and went.
It just pushed, and we've wasted so much money. It made so many mistakes that now, they're not huge mistakes, but some of them are, and now we're still working through a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And we didn't look at the needs of our family. We just we'll just plant a whole bunch of trees and we'll have a whole bunch of fruit.
That's true.
That's really,
that was the plan.
That was the plan. Plant a whole bunch of trees and have a whole bunch of fruit. Now we have a whole bunch of fruit. And we have a lot of trees that we're not quite sure if they're ever going to produce or make it. And now we are having to work around that and focus. But I could tell you going forward, we have been so much more intentional and thoughtful with how we have done things, how we have looked at projects, how we've looked at how we're going to bring anything onto our homestead, what the needs of our homestead actually are. Because self-sufficiency isn't just gardening and your food, your meat sources. That's not all it is. It's making sure you can, wash your clothes, go to the bathroom, and do all of these things. Wash your dishes.
You can go bathroom anywhere.
You can go to the bathroom anywhere. Go to the bathroom comfortably. All of these things. And if you've been without it for any length of time, you start to realize, man, I wasn't prepared. But a lot of people don't put that into the mode of self-sufficiency.
They don't.
And it's part of it. It is. It's so much part of it. So that delayed gratification and building, it's going to give you any better homestead, and you're going to do it in the way it needs to be done. You're going to do it debt-free. So what do you think is the biggest thing about delayed gratification? How do you think it's helped us the most in the past few years? Because we've done it both ways.
We have. We've actually, the delayed gratification, we've done better planning. We've sat down and thought about it more. We've revisited our plans, sometimes making better adjustments, sometimes cutting down size and cutting cost at the same time. I can't lie that I would love to have a tree if I plant it today to have fruit on it tomorrow, but I know that's not possible. So just taking it slow, waiting on it, making sure it's okay.
And this is one of the things that Aaron's really focused on. He's really working hard right now to get our tree production up and running, and all the trees that we currently have. It's one of the things I need to do is I need to branch out the branches because they all have grown kind of straight up. So that is on my list, my never-ending list of things to do.
What about you?
For me, it has been just the more mindful and intentional that we've been, that we've really focused on how to make what we currently have so much better. And then once it's the way we want it to be, and we'll always go back and revisit it, make it better. Look at the potato patch. I mean, that was a pumpkin patch. We made it. We set it up. We realized some things weren't working on it, and then we turned it into the potato patch. That worked out really well for us.
Did.
We made it even better this year. And next year we're making it even better. So we're constantly improving our processes, but we're setting ourselves up for so much more success, not just now, but in the future.
Totally
Just by
agree.
enjoying, that little bit of a pause, a little bit of a hold, instead of going like, oh my God, I want the goat, and I want the donkey, and I want the 10 horses, and then I want all 1,000 chickens and everything. Like, I don't want more. I would say my absolute maximum laying flock is going to be like 20 chickens.
Yeah.
That's my maximum. I can't eat eggs every day. I can eat eggs. And that is like, if I need a protein snack, I will make eggs at night, because that's the thing. But 100, and you're only like a 3-person family, I don't quite understand. I mean, unless you're selling them. But then again, if you live out in the country, everybody sells eggs.
That's the problem there.
So you're going out of the country, everybody else is selling the same things.
Yep. You've got to think of something unique to provide.
A need. What's a need in the community that you can provide?
Hey, maybe nobody else has those goats. You know.
It's always a good option. You can always rent out your goats for $200 a day. I saw that somewhere.
Well, I've seen that too. To go clear areas out.
Minimum 2 day.
That's
a good
that's a
business
good
model.
hustle.
That's a good business model. Like, you don't even have to worry about feed at that point.
Right. Just transportation back and forth.
I mean, and if you get them small enough, that's not much. Just you can get a crate in the back of your vehicle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you got any comments, questions, anything you want to hear in a future episode, you can send it to the Canny Couple at yahoo.com, or leave it down below on whichever platform you're watching this on. And make sure to go over and check out our link tree with all of our other content, which, we're on many different social media sites. And if there's one that you would prefer us on, hey, send us a note on that as well, and we'll check it out.
Yep. And as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.